All right, let's jump into another deep dive. This time we're tackling something that honestly affects all of us, staying active and strong as we age. I'm really excited about this one. We've got these amazing insights from Jonathan. He's a fitness expert and he specializes in working with older adults. And let me tell you, his whole approach, it's really
Yeah,
fascinating.
it really flips the script on how we usually think about aging and fitness. Like, think about this for a sec. How many of you listening right now can actually touch your toes, without bending your knees?
Hmm. Okay, I'll play along. I think, yeah, kinda. I mean, at least I can get close.
Wait, is there like a trick to this question?
No, no tricks, just a dose of reality.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked how many people, even those just in their 30s or 40s, have already lost that, basic flexibility. And Jonathan's point is it's not really about the toe touching itself. It's more like it's a red flag. It shows how much we give up, like basic functional movement, just by being less active. Huh. So it's not just like time marching on, it's also about the choices we make, the stuff we do every day that really shapes how our bodies change as we get older.
It makes me think of that quote from Jonathan, the one where he says, "We don't stop moving because we age because we stop moving."
Totally. That one always gets me thinking about like little kids, toddlers. They can squat down so perfectly, effortlessly. It's amazing. And then we look at ourselves, years later, what happened? It wasn't like our genes suddenly changed overnight. It was that gradual, just the slow decline of movement in our daily lives.
Gotcha. Okay, I see where you're going with this. So what's the secret? Do we all need to, like, become gym rats or something?
Not exactly. Jonathan's all about this concept he calls building your muscular portfolio. It's like, think about investing. You wouldn't put all your money into one stock, right? Same with your body. You need a good mix, strength, flexibility, balance. That's how you stay healthy and keep moving well as you get older. Okay, that's a pretty cool way to think about it, this portfolio idea. But how does it actually work? What kind of investments are we talking about here?
Well, strength training is a big one, and it's about way more than just looking good. Jonathan says there's clear data showing strength training can, like, cut your risk of those acute injuries, those sprains and strains and stuff, by a full 50%.
Whoa, 50%. That's huge. But why does strength training have that kind of impact? Like, what makes it so powerful for preventing injuries?
It's all about, like, building resilience, but on different levels. Think of your muscles as kind of like shock absorbers for your joints, right? They help stabilize everything. When those muscles are strong, well, you're less likely to twist an ankle,
Yeah,
walking on uneven ground,
yeah.
or pull a muscle when you reach for something.
So it's like having this extra, I don't know, like extra support system built right into your body,
Yeah.
helping you out in all those moments, those little things we usually just don't even think about.
Exactly. And strong muscles, they help with your balance too, your reaction time, which is, well, that's crucial as we get older. Jonathan really drove this point home with this, well, kind of a scary example, but he said, imagine, an older adult who takes a fall and breaks a hip. It's not just about the broken bone, it's like everything that comes after. Suddenly they can't move as well, they might need help from others, and honestly, the risk of passing away in the year after something like that, it goes way up.
Wow, that's definitely something to think about. It puts things in perspective. So Jonathan's saying strength training, it's not about vanity, it's really about preventing these life-changing events. But how does he even get people started, especially those who, might be intimidated by weights or worried about getting hurt?
He's got a really smart approach, I think. He starts folks off with really light weights, even if they could handle more.
Hmm.
It's about building that confidence first, letting them see, hey, I can do this safely. And then as they get stronger, then you can gradually up the challenge.
That makes sense. It's like building on those small wins.
Exactly. And he keeps track of their progress. He shows them, like, look how far you've come.
Yeah.
People get so motivated when they see that. It's like, remember when you could only do like 10 reps with 30 pounds? Now you're crushing 15 reps with 70.
I bet that feels amazing. Okay, so strength training, that's a big piece of this muscular portfolio. What else should we be thinking about?
Remember, diversification is key. Flexibility, that's another big one. Think back to that toe touch test, right? That's just one way we lose that range of motion as we get older. And Jonathan says that can make all sorts of everyday stuff harder. Things like putting on your shoes, reaching for something overhead, even just getting up from a chair.
I see what you mean. If we lose those basic abilities, yeah, it really impacts how independent we are, our quality of life, the whole thing.
Exactly. And flexibility, it's not just about avoiding pain or stiffness. It actually plays a role in preventing injuries, too. If your muscles are all tight, you're way more likely to pull something when you make a sudden movement.
So how do we get more flexible? Is it all about stretching?
Stretching definitely helps, but Jonathan's big on this idea of moving through a full range of motion, even in our everyday activities.
Hmm.
Like instead of just bending at the knees to pick something up, try squatting down. Use your hips and ankles too.
So it's like making our everyday movements work for us, not against us. I like that.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just the physical stuff. Jonathan told this story about a woman who came to him, she wanted to lose weight. And when he asked her why, she said she didn't want to become a burden to her kids. You know,
Oh, wow. That's really powerful. It shows how much this is about, like, our emotions, too, the fear of losing our independence as we age.
it's a real concern for a lot of people, and Jonathan gets that. He sees this whole muscular portfolio thing as a way to, empower people, help them stay active and independent for as long as possible.
It's not just about physical strength, then, it's about mental and emotional strength, too, right?
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes Jonathan's whole approach so unique. He's not just focused on the, mechanics of exercise. He's focused on the whole person, their goals, their worries, what they want their future to look like.
This whole muscular portfolio idea, it's really got me thinking, and I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way. We'll be back after a quick break to dig a little deeper into, how to actually build this portfolio, how it can help us live healthier, more fulfilling lives as we age. We're back. And man, this whole muscular portfolio thing, it's really stuck with me. I always thought I was, pretty active, walk the dog, take the stairs, all that. But listening to Jonathan, it's like, whoa, there's so much more I could be doing, really investing in how I want to feel years down the line.
It's a total shift, isn't it? Like, we often think of exercise as this, yeah, should do. But Jonathan, he makes it sound more like, hey, this is something you want to do for yourself, for your future.
Yeah, exactly. And that point about diversification, right? It's not just about one thing. Like with money, you got to spread it around. Strength, flexibility, balance, that whole mix, that's what makes a strong portfolio for your body, too.
He actually told this really cool story about one of his clients. She used to be like a serious tennis player back in the day, but then knee pain had to stop. Thought those days were over. But Jonathan, he worked with her, built up her strength, flexibility, especially in her legs and core. And guess what? She got back on the court.
No way. That's awesome. So even if you think, okay, this activity, that activity, off the table because of age, past injuries, whatever, maybe there's a way back if you approach it right.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And that's where Jonathan's approach is so cool. It's all individualized.
Hmm.
He figures out what each person needs, their goals, what they're struggling with, and then bam, custom program just for them. No one size fits all here.
Smart. But what about people who haven't really exercised in forever, years, maybe even decades? Is it ever too late to, start building this muscular portfolio?
That's the question everyone asks, right? And Jonathan tackled it head on. He talked about this study. They looked at folks in their late 80s, early 90s who started doing strength training. And get this, they saw real improvements in their strength and how well they could move.
Seriously, in their 80s and 90s, that's amazing. It's like proof. No matter how old you are, you can still invest in your health.
Super inspiring, right? Of course, got to be realistic. You might not be back to your, 20-year-old self, but you can absolutely stop things from getting worse, even improve things, have a better quality of life.
I remember Jonathan talked about functional independence. What did he mean by that exactly?
He meant being able to do like everyday stuff without struggling, without needing help. Carrying groceries, getting out of a chair, going upstairs, playing with your grandkids. Those things we all just do, until maybe one day you can't anymore.
And strength training, that's a big part of staying independent like that, right?
Huge. Stronger muscles, they not only help you do those things, but they also make you less likely to fall, which is, well, that's a big worry as you get older.
It's all connected then, right? You build strength, you stay independent, and that helps you stay active, engaged in life, the whole picture.
Totally. And it's not just the physical side either. Jonathan said exercise, it can really help your mind and your emotions too. He had this great line, when you move your body, you move your mind.
I feel that, after a good workout, things just seem clearer, more energy too.
Like hitting the reset button for your brain, right? Exercise, it helps with stress, improves your mood, you feel more confident. Heck, it can even help you think better.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about why we should be building this muscular portfolio, but let's get down to brass tacks. What can our listeners actually do to start investing in themselves, like today?
One of the simplest but most powerful things is just moving more every single day. Make it a non-negotiable, like brushing your teeth.
So not just like scheduled workouts, gym time, that kind of thing.
Right. Find ways to move throughout your day. Park farther away at the store, take the stairs instead of the elevator, walk or bike to run errands, instead of driving. It all adds up.
I love that. It takes the pressure off. Like, gotta find an hour to go to the gym. It's about making small changes that you can actually stick with.
And those small changes, they can lead to big results over time. Remember that woman wanted to play tennis again. She didn't just jump back and, hours on the court. It was small steps, building strength and flexibility bit by bit.
That's so encouraging. You don't need to overhaul your whole life. Just start where you are, what you can do today, and build from there.
Speaking of building, let's talk about the strength training piece. Jonathan actually had this really cool pyramid, breaks it all down.
Ooh, a pyramid. I like it. I'm a visual person, so anything like that helps me wrap my head around it.
So at the bottom, the base of the pyramid, that's daily movement. What we were just
Mhm.
talking about, that's the foundation. Then middle layer, that's moderate exercise like 3 times a week. Brisk walking, swimming, dancing, anything that gets your heart rate up.
Okay, so we've got our base daily movement, then our cardio a few times a week, and then what's at the top, the peak of this pyramid?
Strength training, 2, maybe 3 times a week. That's where you're really focusing on building muscle, getting stronger overall.
But for someone who's like brand new to strength training, maybe a little intimidated, where do they even begin?
Jonathan, he's all about starting slow, building up gradually. You don't got to jump in lifting heavy weights right away. He often starts people with just body weight exercises or very light weights just to get that foundation, make sure they're doing it safely.
So it's all about listening to your body, not pushing too hard too fast, challenging yourself, but like within reason, right?
Exactly. And there's tons of resources out there to help. Personal trainers, group classes, online videos, even just a good book from the library. Find something that works for you, that you enjoy, that you'll actually stick with.
What about people with, health issues, injuries, that kind of thing? Is strength training safe for them?
That's a good question, and honestly something to always talk to your doctor about. They can tell you what's right for you. But generally, there's almost always some kind of movement that can help, even if you have limitations. Maybe not powerlifting, but maybe gentle yoga, water aerobics, even chair exercises, stuff like that.
So it's about finding what works for you, meeting yourself where you're at, and then pushing a little bit at your own pace.
Exactly. And remember, even small bits of movement, they make a difference. It's about being consistent, making it a habit, and yeah, finding ways to enjoy it.
I love that Jonathan focuses on that, the enjoyment part. It shouldn't feel like, ugh, another thing on the to-do list. It should be something you look forward to, something that makes you feel good.
When you find that joy in moving, it's way easier to stick with it, right?
Yeah.
Makes it part of your life, not just another chore.
This has been so eye-opening, honestly. I bet our listeners are feeling inspired to start building their own muscular portfolios. We'll be back in a bit to wrap things up and share some final thoughts from Jonathan, so stick with us. We're back, and honestly, I'm still processing everything Jonathan said. It's one thing to know that exercise is good for you, but he really breaks down the why, the how, like how to actually make it part of your life, especially as we get older.
Yeah, the thing that really stuck with me was how he tied physical strength to like mental and emotional resilience. He said
Yeah.
something like, strong bodies build strong minds.
It's so true. It's not just about, lifting weights. It's about facing those tough moments and knowing, hey, I've got this. I'm strong enough, both physically and mentally, to get through it.
And that feeling, that strength and knowing you can handle things, it spills over into everything, right?
Yeah.
It gives you the confidence to try new stuff, push yourself a little, and just, I don't know, approach life with a more positive can-do attitude.
He talked about how exercise can be like an antidote to stress, too, something I think we all struggle with these days.
Absolutely. He was saying our bodies are meant to move, right?
Mhm.
Like that's how we naturally react to stress. But nowadays, the stress is all in our heads. Deadlines, traffic, too much information. And we end up with all this energy, nowhere for it to go.
It's like that fight or flight thing, but stuck on, even though there's nothing to fight or run away from.
Exactly. And that's where exercise comes in. It lets us release that pent-up energy, like we're literally moving through the stress, and it helps reset our whole system.
So it's not just about building muscles. It's about handling our emotions better, finding that balance, especially when life feels so chaotic.
You got it. And Jonathan made this interesting point. He said, a lot of people resist exercise because they see it as a chore, something they have to do, not something they want to do.
That's a big one, that mindset shift. Like, if you can find ways to make movement fun, connect it to things you already love doing,
Yeah.
then it doesn't feel like a burden anymore.
Yeah, he used a great example as goaling class, a mix of golf and bowling, just for seniors. It's strength training, but also socializing, laughing, a little friendly competition.
Sounds like a blast. It shows movement can be playful, social, it doesn't have to be all serious and solitary.
And that's what makes it stick, right? When you find something you truly enjoy, you're going to keep doing it, and then you get all the benefits.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some key takeaways you hope our listeners will hold on to?
I'd say, number one, movement is an investment, not a chore. It's like a gift to your future self, a future where you're strong, independent, and ready for anything.
I love that. Such a powerful way to think about it. What else?
Diversify that muscular portfolio. Don't just focus on one thing. Mix it up, strength training, flexibility, balance, plus activities you simply enjoy, whether it's dancing or gardening or playing with your grandkids.
Find that sweet spot where movement feels good, it challenges you a bit, and it nourishes your mind and body.
And never forget, it's never too late to start. Your body is amazing. It can adapt. Even small, consistent effort over time, it makes a huge difference.
So true. And if you're feeling lost, like where do I even begin? Don't be afraid to reach out for help. Find a trainer, join a class, connect with friends who like to move, or even just start with a walk in nature. Just notice how good it feels to move your body.
This whole deep dive, it's been about giving you the tools, taking charge of your health, building that strong foundation for a future where you thrive, not just survive.
So, to all our listeners, what does building your muscular portfolio mean to you? What's one small step you can take today to invest in your future self? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep moving, keep exploring, and keep building that strength.